You know, I was thinking this morning about a place where I have dropped the ball, and that is chronicling how much in just 5 days Trump has delivered. And even with his actions acting as president-elect, he did more than Obama ever did, because Obama was a globalist trying to suppress us. Trump is simply removing all the illegal garbage. Why can Trump just suddenly say we're not turning off any more coal power plants? Why can he just suddenly say we're pulled out of TPP? Why can he just suddenly do all these things? Because under executive action, all this unconstitutional garbage was done. So he can just remove it. But here's the key. Upon removing all of this onerous tyranny, Trump is not then dictating it as a stick over the heads of the elites. He's returning it to the Congress and to the people. Look at TPP. He could have taken that whole agreement, kept it secret, done whatever he wanted, quote, for his interest. No, he just said, it's gone. It was secret over 10 years. Hillary basically helped create it with Goldman Sachs. We're throwing the whole thing away. It was illegally brought in. It was being enforced by Obama outside of law. Congress didn't pass it. It's gone. We withdraw from the TPP because Obama had already put us into it. That was what, day 2 he did that. And he passed the critical test. He devolved the power, which is what's needed, back to the states and back to the people. And the howls of anger only intensified up into the sky. It's just unprecedented. And then notice that something they snuck by Reagan. I don't blame Reagan for this because he didn't really have a hand in it, but it happened on Reagan's watch, so I guess he gets the blame, so do the Democrats. But in, 1983, the Vaccine Damage Fund, which I guess Reagan thought, oh, we're going to pay for the kids that get hurt by bad vaccines. No, the law made it secret what happens to you, makes you go into a secret federal court, very hard to ever even get the vaccine damage money, and it's taxpayer money, over $1 billion a year, that's put in the fund to pay for what the vaccine makers do. Now, if somebody's above the law and can't get in trouble, and there's a secret court, do you think they're going to make better vaccines or worse vaccines? Because I'm not arguing that there isn't a science that you can take some type of pathogen that's been attenuated, that's been neutralized, and that your body then still learns that it's an outside enemy and creates antibodies for it. But that's your body going to war, and you do that too much, it causes problems. It causes shock. It causes blood on the brain. It causes the equivalent of your baby getting stung by 100 bees. That's all that's happening when your baby goes into convulsions and is drooling a few hours after it gets all those vaccines, is it's having an allergic reaction. And I've had hundreds of medical doctors on, hundreds over the years, breaking this down, but you can read the insert. It says it can cause these shocks and cause seizures, and then cause permanent epilepsy or narcolepsy, or cause type 1 diabetes because it burns out your pancreatitis. It says it on the inserts. We've shown them to you hundreds of times here. Every year when kids are getting ready to go to school, Dell Hospital here in Austin is full of children who suddenly can't process sugar, who suddenly can't produce insulin, who suddenly don't have a pancreas. And every time it's the vaccine. They go, oh, type 1, suddenly the genetic form is way up. Well, yeah, because it's being destroyed. It says on the insert of the MMR shot and the flu shot and all the rest of them that it causes pancreatitis. And then right under that, it says diabetes, 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 diabetes. It hits your brain, it hits your pancreas, big time. You have big autoimmune responses in them, and a lot of times it burns them out, and your kid never comes back. Now, Barron is a very smart young man, and he's doing great, and a lot of people bounce back from damage from vaccines, but the word is Barron got hurt when he was little with vaccines. See, this is a learning experience for Trump as well. And I'm not going to get into their private family business. They've said, leave their kids alone, and I've done that. But the point is that you notice Trump has got somebody who's had his family, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., up there about to lead a commission and really bring out all the investigations. And I know what the investigations are. They're open and shut. We've got the 2003, even ABC News did its job back then, from a 2000 meeting at the head of the CDC facility with the head of it and all of them admitting it was causing autoimmune disorders and causing massive shock and massive allergic responses and massive brain damage, and that they, A, had to cover it up or there'd be a civil war. They actually say a civil insurrection. Millions have been hurt or killed. And B, they had to clean the vaccines up. They didn't. The numbers are getting worse. They give the military experimental vaccines. You can't kill anthrax. Doesn't matter if you radiate it, burn it, whatever. Every spore has got to be chopped in half. They inject the troops with live anthrax. No wonder so many died. This is how crazy it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's a whole other area, how anthrax is literally living, dead, zombie plant spores. By the way, if you just tuned in at the end of that little breakdown about Trump coming out and saying we're going to investigate the vaccines, we're going to put the facts on the table, start talking about anthrax and thinking about experimental vaccines they use in the military. So I was talking to a lot of veterans up in D.C. over the inauguration, and they were all talking about how the huge list of vaccines they were given would make them so sick, but they said they would just gut up for America and do it. And I was pointing out that most of those vaccines were experimental. So under federal law, you can't order the military to take vaccines that are experimental. You can't order citizens to take anything. And that Bioport that produced the anthrax vaccine got caught having live anthrax in it. And so I was going from memory, and I said, listen, anthrax is a type of bacteria that when it goes into its dormant phase, it's similar to the plant family, and this is layman terms, that it folds in on itself, shrivels up into a crystalline state, and they've documented hundreds of thousands of years it can live in the dirt. I'd said hundreds of the military guys, because that's well known, and they believe maybe millions. And so one of the big theories is this is the type of family of bacteria that might have seeded the earth if you don't believe in the Christian cosmology. But I went and researched it again when I got home Saturday for like an hour. And, of course, it's just so amazing, the processes of just this family of bacteria that anthrax happens to be a part of, and that they know you can't radiate it, you can't hardly burn it. There's no way to attenuate it where it doesn't make you sick. And that's why they keep coming back with anthrax vaccines, and it keeps killing people, because you're trying to give someone something that can't be killed because it kills itself. When this family of bacteria that anthrax comes from, and again, I'm not a scientist, I'm just giving you the basic breakdowns, go research for yourself, starts freezing or starts dying, it goes through this process where it folds in on itself and the bacteria eats itself. It divides, the other side eats the other side, then it implodes and shrinks in to a solid crystalline form that can last millions of years. It's dead. It's dormant. I mean, you talk about suspended animation. So our scientists go, here, put it in a big tank, fry it with radiation, heat it up. Okay, we think these spores are dead. And this will make it where when you get hit by these spores, your body would have learned how to deal with them. There is no dealing with it. And the truth is, it was all a big giant experiment to see what mutations would be caused by injecting humans with this deadly bacteria. Because it's known to manipulate human DNA in survivors. And so all the military that was given this, and I've been told this by high-ups, again, I'm not a scientist, I'm giving you the gestalt of what I was told, you were guinea pigs because the globalists then later at the VA get your blood, and they're testing and watching and looking for certain mutations they want to use in their long-term gene therapy programs, and what they call basically the eternal cell line that was first found in a woman here in the United States back in the 40s. Cancer killed her in a week. And they found that the cancer never dies. You can put a piece of the tumor in a dish, freeze it, or leave it out in the open, and it just sits there and doesn't die. It's a zombie. It doesn't need oxygen. It doesn't need nutrients. It doesn't need anything. So they're obsessed with what I call zombie cell lines. This isn't zombie movies, folks. This is the real deal. And anthrax in the bacteria/plant family, it's in the whole side of the bacteria family that's associated with plants. And again, I'm giving you just a layman's breakdown of this. I've read hundreds of papers on it. And then over on the other side, cancers in humans where the cells are so strong and so powerful, they won't die. unless you completely burn them into ashes. The problem is with anthrax is heating it up doesn't do it either. Until you smash the crystals at a microscopic level, heating it up doesn't kill it. You have to turn it into ashes. You have to burn it into dust. I didn't mean to segue. It's just the media will make a joke and go, Jones claims the government injected troops with zombie spores. Well, yes, that's what anthrax is it is a desiccated zombie bacteria that can live 1 million years and that reactivates, and we injected the troops with that. Okay, you can't make this up. True, stranger than fiction. More on Trump's overthrow of the New World Order. Straight ahead, Trump is on fire.